Hi everybody, welcome back to the Claremont Classic Garage. It's springtime, and that means we got a whole bunch of turf equipment to get into shape for the upcoming grass season. First one we're going to work on is our Ferris zero-turn mower. It doesn't really need much. I do though want to get it cleaned up first. I usually clean this thing all up before I put it away, but the last time I cut the grass was like in the middle of December, and then the weather turned to crap literally the next day, and it's been crap ever since until now. So before I get started, I got to get this thing cleaned up. First, we're going to have a go at the engine. I'm going to change the oil. There is a interval for the oil change, and we're not there yet. But it's also a good idea just to do it every spring. And when I get to the interval, that's when I'll do a full oil change, put a filter on it, and all that stuff. I'm also going to pull the plugs out of it, have a look at them. We'll have a look at the air filter, make sure that's all good to go. While the oil's draining, we'll have a look at this. This is the actual air filter. It's a very, very, very fine screen. And this is, I guess, even though it looks like an air filter, it's a pre-filter. So it's got a two-stage air filter, I guess you could call it. This one lasts a long time. You can see there, it's spotless. This one, we're just going to take it outside and blow it with some compressed air. I could see lots of light through it, so I'd say this filter has got a lot of life left in it. But we'll just clean it up and put it back in, and at the same time, we'll clean up the inside of the housing. And once we've got this thing cleaned up, it just goes right back in it. It pushes over the little step in the back. Now, what in the world? There we go. I knew there was more to it than that. And then this thing goes on with that little dump. That lets, you could give that a squeeze once in a while, and it'll let all the dust and crap fall out. And there we go. That's our air filter service. Now we'll get these plugs out and have a look at them. A tactical error on my part. I put these lights on here, and I kind of choked off my access to the spark plugs. So I may make some new little brackets and move the lights back to here at some point. But right now we're just worrying about getting these out. It's okay, I get the spark plug socket in there and I just grab it with this wrench and we'll get the plug out anyway. The other side wasn't bad. I just had to put a flex joint in my ratchet and it came right out. The spark plugs were nice and clean. And the gap was right on the money at the specified 30 thousandths of an inch. So now we can put our high tension leads back on, and that's done. This one in here, these dang lights. I like my lights, but there we go. That one's on. I heard it go click. Now we can put the plug back in and put some oil on it. How this thing drains, it's got a hose. It's like a hydraulic hose attached to the crankcase, and it hangs down here. And that's where you get your oil plug out. I usually pull the hose back up into the machine. I guess you could leave it hanging through the hole in the floor if you want, but I don't want it getting chafed where it comes through the floor, and the chances that it could get grabbed are also... if you're me anyway, quite high. Here's what I run in this stuff. Mobile 1 10W30. It's always on sale somewhere, and I've always got 4 or 6 jugs of it kicking around here. Oh, we got our oil level back up to the correct place. That's good. And I cleaned up the oil cooler. Now we can move on and check our hydraulic fluid level. And the first thing I see is we've got a leak. And I'm pretty sure I could see where the leak is coming from. Here is the suction hose in the bottom of the reservoir. Look at that. It's loose. So we'll just tighten up this clamp here. And that should be the end of our leak. There we go. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Wow, that lid gets on there good. There we go. Yeah, it definitely needs a little topping up. It's hard to see down in there. They give you a hot level, so I usually, when I'm looking at it cold, I fill it up to about here, and right now it's down to there. And this does, for the hydraulic system on this, take a specific oil as recommended by Ferris. So this is the oil that Ferris recommends for this particular machine. Doesn't mean that it's what is recommended for your particular machine. Check the owner's manual. But it's Castrol Edge 5W50 full synth. So we'll top that up and move on to grease. Now we're going to get the grease gun out. I'm not going to bore you with I'm greasing this fitting, I'm greasing that fitting. All that information is in the service manual or the owner's manual. But you can see there's a couple down in there, and most of them are on the deck. So we'll get that done, and I'll be right back. I got the greasing done. I went around and checked my tire pressures. They were, the back ones were good, the front ones were a little low, so we topped them up. Now I'm going to jack it up, and we're going to change the blades. Here's our old blades out. They're Gator mulching blades. They've been on there. I think I got 3 seasons out of these. They're pretty decent blades. I went up to the lawnmower place in town, and he had a set of basically stock replacement ones. So we'll put these on there and see how they work out. In the meantime, I'm going to fix up these Gator blades. See what happens to them here is when they get old, the ends of them start getting rounded off. And it doesn't seem like much, but over time they get rounded off more and more, and they start leaving strips of uncut grass. So what we're going to do is I'm going to weld up these corners, and then we'll sharpen these up. And if we decide we want to try them again, we'll put them back on later in the season and see how they perform as opposed to original stock blades. Now, we're to the most expensive part of this job. Both tanks on this thing are bone dry, so I got to fill them up. And we all know the price of fuel lately. Well, that's that one ready to go. I guess next we'll have a go at the old deer here. This one doesn't need too much of anything to get going. The oil is nice and clean and the level is good. The air filter, I had to take this stuff all apart when I fixed the carburetor back in the winter, so that's all been serviced up and cleaned. It's good to go. Really, all we have to do with this is grease the kingpins, check the tire pressures, put the new blades on it, and fill it up with gas, and this thing is ready to go. Turns out the deer also had Gator blades on it. You can see on this, the ends of them are really rounded off. These things have pretty much had it. The new ones, they're mulchers, and they've got that wave to them, which I think is why I switched to the Gators years ago, because these things are ignorant to sharpen. But anyway, that's what we got now, so that's what we're putting on. Blew up the tires, checking all our lights. Everything's good with this one. I filled it up with fuel too. So there we are. The deer is ready to rock. Now let's have a go at these 2 push mowers. We'll deal with this one first because it's the one I put my hand on. When we fixed this thing up originally, I put a brand new mulching blade on it. And we've only really used it a couple of times since then. And I'm just having a look at it, and it is in good shape. So we don't need to worry about taking it off and sharpening it or anything like that. The only thing that this really needs is a new pull cord. It broke. So we're going to go ahead and change that. First step is to remove this cowling. On this particular engine, the recoil is riveted to the shroud. In the old days, that would have been screwed on, and you could just remove the recoil. On this one, is not. So we just went around, took a few fasteners out, and we've removed the whole cowl or shroud. Now we'll come over here to the bench. I'm going to set up with my tripod, I think, and we will replace the string. All right, so let's see what we got to do to get in here. I guess first we got to take this here screw out. And this disc comes off. And, oh, there we go. Oh, dear. Well, I think I just killed this. Possibly. Oh, let's see what happens. So I'm slowly getting this clock spring wound back into here, so maybe this isn't as bad as it seems. Oh, brother. They don't make stuff like they used to. In the old days, you could just remove the recoil from the top of it and change the string and put it back in. I fixed lots of them. Huh? Oh, this is the way we got to do this one, eh? So we feed the cord through there and then get it into, there's a little passage for it there, and tie a knot in the end so it can't come out. Right? Then we can wind it up a little bit. You can see the hook in it there. And that hook has to go over that little tang or finger in there. And that's what allows this thing to wind up. So, whoops, that's got to go under there. There. All right. And you can see now, you pull it out and the spring pulls it back in. That's good. So what we have to do now, oops, is get these little fingers in. These are what actually engage the engine to turn it over. They go in there like that. And then this little guy just goes right back on top and tighten up the screw. And I think, despite getting off to a rocky start, okay, so there you can see, as you pull the string, see those things come out? And that's what engages the little drum on the crankshaft to turn our engine over. So the original cord had right around here, it had a stopper. So what we're going to do is we're going to mark it. And put a knot. So there you can see it, that the string can't get pulled back in any further than that. You can see here, when those little fingers come out, that's what they catch. And they catch in the slots in this drum, and that's what turns our engine over. This thing just drops right back on. We'll put the screws back in it, and it should be all set. So she's all back together. Now what we have to do is get our handle back on. Same deal, we just fish it through the handle and put a couple of knots in it. The oil on this was changed and it was hardly ever used at all, so yeah, look at that. Beautiful. And it's at the full mark. See if there's any gas in it. This ethanol gas evaporates pretty. Oh, there's a little gas in it. I don't know if it's got ethanol gas in it or not. The inside of the tank looks pretty nice. Let's see if she'll start up. This one doesn't have a choke, so you just give it a few primes. It says 3, but the first couple didn't really do nothing. So there we go. Let's see if she'll fire up. Fired right up on the first pull, but for some reason the cord doesn't go all the way back in now. Kind of interesting. So I'm going to have to see if I can figure that out. Well, this little guy is all fixed up. I just had to reposition my knots. I think maybe I didn't have the hook on that spring quite right around that key or something, and it settled in. It works good now. You can pull it out to there, and you can feel the little teeth come out and grab the drum, so we're all set. Last is the old Canadian Tire lawnmower. Let's have a look at this thing. Let's have a look at the blade first. Yeah, look at that. It's got a nice new gator blade on it and doesn't look like it's even been touched. So I'm not going to waste my time trying to sharpen it. This is an old 3.5 Tecumseh. These are good engines. Yeah, the oil level is good. And this one, again, I had put fresh oil in it, so it's good to go. Look, it looks like we've been at the recoil on this one too. The worst thing with these old Tecumsehs is the damn gas tank clips onto the back of the shroud there, and they always break. There's no gas at all in this thing, so we'll put some gas in it and see if we can get it fired up. This one's got a primer bulb also. I'm not quite sure how many times to push it, but that time there was nothing in it but air. There, and we'll see if she starts. I don't have enough hands. I'll be back in a sec. She went on the first pull. It let a little puff of oil out. And this one always has a little surge until it gets warmed up and working, and then it's fine. She's a screamer. I don't use these two old things much around here, but man, when you need it, right? So I got to make sure I keep them running. All right. That's all our lawnmowers fixed up and ready to go. You'll probably be seeing this in the first week of May, but right now it's the middle of April. The last couple of days it was really nice out, but now, as usual, the polar vortex has come back for Easter weekend. But that's okay. When it's cold and miserable outside, I just go inside. There's lots of racing and hockey, and the Jays are back. There's all kinds of stuff to watch on TV. I don't give a hoot. But I'm really glad to get all these lawnmowers out of here, because tomorrow the next job we're going to do is a it's springtime when job. And I can't wait to show you something out. It's something I've never showed you before on this channel, and something I've been looking forward to showing you since we started. Anyway, that's your cliffhanger for today. I want to thank y'all for tuning in and coming back time and time again to watch all this silly stuff I do. And I hope you'll join us again. And until then, this is Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. Thanks again, and so long.